What's up? It's me, Audra, and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, I'm not sure how you got here, but certainly I'm glad you came. And if you are new here, well, you're in for a treat. All right, if you enjoy chaotic, frenetic energy, you like beauty, you like horror, and a little bit of commentary thrown in between, then I suggest you go on ahead and subscribe for the low, low price of $0. I will tell you a holiday wish that I have. This year's holiday wish, one of the many, is that you never have to see any of the things that I'm talking about today. One of them being After We Collided. Wow. Also, here are my socials. I love hanging out with y'all. I love chatting. I have not been as chatty lately. If you hadn't noticed, Goth misses a lot, and I am old and tired. So what are we here with today, Audra? Well, I know that the thumbnail is talking about pretty little things, pretty young things, dark pretty things. I cannot remember the name of the show to save my life, and I'm about to talk about it. Anywho's before we get there, I thought I'd get ready. I have a live stream that I'm getting ready for, and I thought, why don't I just get ready and talk to you about these things? Before I talk about tiny pretty things, I did want to touch on let me just get primer and let's get moving. I'm gonna try, I'm gonna be an affordable ass bitch today. I think I'm gonna be an affordable ass bitch today. So this is what we're gonna do. Everything on my face will be listed in the description below, which many are affiliate links. And if that makes you feel uncomfortable, that I do in fact earn a small commission from said links that I put back into the channel, you are free to shop on your own. Thank you. PSA over. All right, here we go. So, y'all, when I tell you, when I'm not watching horror films or the Fast and the Furious series, I am constantly watching romance movies. I know. But I'm always trying to find one that I like. I'm one that just doesn't set off too many of my little buzzers where I'm like, that is not real. What the hell is going on here? And so I'm always on this constant search where I'm let me just see if I can find one. And that's when I found After. Okay. There's so many videos about After, and apparently it's based off of some Wattpad fanfic. Y'all, I don't know. And it's YA, and it's about Hardin and Tessa, and it's based the person who wrote this based Hardin off of Harry Styles, and I do believe Harry Styles hates it. I'm sure. I don't know. I don't care because it's so bad. Oh God. The secondhand embarrassment I feel is high. It is very high. So my feelings are hurt talking about it even as we speak, okay? My feelings are hurt talking about it even as we speak because why I watched After and then proceeded to watch its sequel After We Collided. Okay, so I'm not even really gonna get into After because I only have so much time and there's so much trash to dissect here. So After We Collided is the follow-up to After, which sees this romance, if you will, just okay. It literally feels like a 14-year-old wrote this, and then the people who picked it up and were we're gonna make a movie went directly with that dialogue, and we're just yes, this is perfect. This is exactly how young people act. So, in the first one, you see Tessa and Hardin meet, have sexual relations, fall in love, argue, have sexual relations, argue, and have more sexual relations before they break up in dramatic style for literally no reason. And if I can get my editing skills to any point to where I can insert some of this shit, I am going to do it. I moved you closer. So After We Collided is part 2 of this saga, this romance, if you will. And I cannot breathe with how bad this was. Like, I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed not only for myself, I was embarrassed for the actors involved in this movie. I was embarrassed for the direction, like the people who had to film it. Like, I was embarrassed for the cinematographer. I was embarrassed for the photographer. I was embarrassed for lighting. I was embarrassed for the gaff, you know? I was embarrassed for everyone. Like, just, I was humiliated for them. And then I was embarrassed for myself because I saw this trash and I didn't know what to say. So when we pick up in part 2, I don't even really know, like, what happened. I legitimately don't know what happened. It was just like, I guess Tessa got an internship. I really don't know how. I seriously and sincerely have no idea like how Tessa got it. She's, I guess, an English major, and then she got an internship, y'all. I can't make this up. And she's working at her internship, and then she's there with that guy. I think it's Cole Sprouse. I think that might be his name, or Dylan Sprouse. I think it might be Dylan Sprouse. I don't know which Sprouse it is. It's one of them Sprouses. I'll put the correct name in here somewhere, but like, it's one of them. And like, he literally could have been played by a stick by how much, like, I cannot stop laughing. I'm so sorry. I'm trying really hard to be like serious and give like hard hitting commentary on this movie. But y'all, he legitimately could have been played by a stick. That's how bad it was. Like, a stick could have played his part. I really wouldn't have known the difference. I would not have. I would have been like, oh, okay. Like, there's a stick. Like, no difference. And I guess he's supposed to be set up as Tessa's new love interest, and like, she's at work, and I don't know, I guess she falls asleep, and then she's like woken up the next day. She just like falls asleep at work. I don't know why she went to sleep at work, but she did. And then the boss comes in and he's like, hey, follow me, and then like takes her to some client meeting, an unpaid intern, and she's at the club with the wooden stick, and then there's a man who's Chinese, I guess, who they're trying to like make a business deal with. I feel like this whole review of this movie right now is just like me talking in upward tones. The point is, they're just trying to set up like a, I don't know. I'm gonna have to do like a whole ass video on this movie. Y'all need to watch it. You'll need to watch it so that we can do a live stream and talk about the awfulness together. What I'm gonna tell you is this movie has absolutely no plot. There's literally none. There is not a plot to be found. I don't know what's going on. I don't know who filmed this. All I do know is there's so much death in it. And if you're wondering why I say it like that, it's because of demonetization. So I say sexual. So, and I'm not making fun of anybody who has a lisp. I'm merely trying to find a way to say it without having to edit those little like mert sounds. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? The mert sounds. I don't want to do it. It's not even I don't want to do it. I don't think that I have the capacity to do it properly, because every time I try, I talk too fast, and I really have to learn not to talk so fast so that it's a little easier. So that's a thing. Anywho's it. The whole thing was really just like set up for these two people to just be like doing it as much as possible everywhere. And it was really weird. It was very, very weird. I watched it 30 minutes later. I was still confused at what I had seen. I was like, what happened in this movie? How was she an intern? How did she get a job offer? Why is the guy from How to Get Away with Murder in it? Like, why is this girl, like the chick from Vampire Diaries, she was in there for 3 seconds. There's a child in this movie for no good reason. Like, I don't know what happened. I need y'all to watch this, and we're gonna do a stream on it, okay? I just need y'all to watch this, and we're gonna stream, because I need to make sure that I am not the only person who was just baffled. I'm sorry. Now we're gonna move on, because if I talk about that movie any longer, like, it's just gonna be me laughing the whole time. I'm so sorry. It really will be, though. It will literally be me just like laughing incoherently because I don't know. I distinctly remember going, I am an hour and 26 minutes into this movie and nothing has happened. I'm hoping that I'm putting up this particular scene. Like, there's a scene where she thinks that he's cheated on her again.
You're never gonna trust me.
Trust you? You think that I should trust you?
Yes.
Where has that ever gotten me?
I am so sorry, y'all. I'm really trying to keep my shit together, but I cannot. It's so terrible. And this isn't normally my realm. I leave terrible movies to like Jamie French, but this was so bad. I hope she does. Jamie, if you're watching this, please do a video on it. It is so bad. I couldn't breathe. But like, he's like, you're never gonna forgive me, are you? You're never gonna trust me again. What do I have to do to show you that I love you? She's like, because I can't trust you.
You're never gonna forgive me, are you? You're just gonna keep bringing it up every time.
Because I don't trust you.
And I was like, did he just say that? All right. I'm that asshole who's telling a joke that, and like, I won't get to the part that you, listen, I'm so sorry. Listen, leave me alone. Anyway, what we're really here for today is to actually talk about the show, Tiny Pretty Things. Now, to get started, I'm gonna hit these points as quickly and efficiently as I can because I feel like that needs to be done. Yes. But also, I'm looking for eyeshadow. Please hold while I access my account. All right, account accessed. Let's get started. For me to even be able to talk about this movie, I have to first say that this movie should have been set in college. Like, the show, excuse me. This show extensively, ostensibly, like, it should have been set. It should have been a college setting, point blank period. And I'm just going back with, because I didn't like the green that I used. And I was like, I want a deeper green. So that's what we're doing right now. But and we're probably going to do orange again because bitch loves orange. All right. So I have to preface this because everything that I talk about is going to make sense when I say that it absolutely should have been set in like college. Like it's a show about ballet for those of you that don't know. It's supposed to be like ballet meets like what is it? What is that? Black Swan meets Pretty Little Liars is what it's trumped up as. That is what it's supposed to be. And it really would have been fine if it was like set up like these people were 18 and they're in like a feeder school, like a feeder school that feeds to like a ballet company. But no, they set it in high school instead of like making them all adults, which is why everybody's screaming about this show, by the way. That's why everyone's mad. It is not because it is sexy, and I watched Gossip Girl. It is really because the things that happen in this are okay. So I'm going to try to tell this to you with as a little like as spoiler-free as possible. We're gonna see if I can do that. Y'all, I cannot stop with the purple right now, and I don't want to hear it, okay? All right, thank you. Have a good day. I'm like, please leave me alone. Leave me and my purple child alone. Okay. So the next thing is, the reason I bring this up is there was so many steamy sex scenes. And it was intense. And the thing of it is, I am no prude. I have no problem with love-ins. I have no problem talking about love-ins. It doesn't bother me at all. I think that people should have these conversations more often. You know, the things that we normal people believe. And I use the term normal loosely. So here's the thing. As this show is going on, there's so many steamy scenes of and the problem lies in it that who is this for, okay? Because if it's supposed to be for like teens, it's too much for teens. Like if it was supposed to be for 13 to 16-year-olds, it's too much. Like I don't think most parents would want their 13 to 16-year-olds watching this show. And that's even like people who are very, what's the word that I'm looking for? Progressive. I think even progressive parents would find it like, I don't think I want my kid watching this. Like, I'm not really into that. Like, I don't mind that there's, you know, sex and love and all that good stuff. I think I can start saying it now. I'm 18 minutes in, right? Okay. I'm probably 16 by the time I'm done editing, but that's fine. But, and I think like even progressive parents would just be like, oh yeah, you know, whatever, like it is what it is. Like, but even progressive parents would see this and be like, ugh. And I'm telling you again, I watched Gossip Girl. So like, that is a standard. Everybody was screaming about Gossip Girl back in the day. And here's the thing. These scenes are long. They are drawn out. Like, it is not just like, you know how in Gossip Girl, like, they would, like, get near each other and get a little steamy, get a little kissy. Somebody would pull shirts off, they'd collide, and then the scene would cut, right? And it would be something else. Not so with this show. The amount of man-ass and the amount of tea-tots that were shown, whoo, child, it was, I felt uncomfortable and I felt like it was illegal because these people are supposed to be 16. I don't care if they're not actually 16. They were supposed to be 16 and that's the point. They were supposed to be 16. So it's like really unnerving to say the least that you're watching this and you're just like, I don't know how to, do I? Grr. It was like, I could not get any sense of like comfort. Like I, for the first time in my life, I felt like I had to look away from sex scenes because it was too much. You know, like it was just, and like I also watch Queer as Folk. So like, I don't ever had, and that's one of my favorites actually. That was one of my favorite shows. Oh God. When I finally got to see that show and like watch like all of all of it, I was like, oh, I have arrived. I felt so like grown up and just, you know, like I was getting what I deserved. I feel like right now all I'm doing are green and purple looks. I don't want any shit for it. So just like, you know, please leave me alone about it. Thank you. Have a good day. All right. So anyhow, back to the story. So it was just really excessive. And then on top of that, they throw in the ever-present, always there, boring as fuck trope of the student-teacher relationship, which I hate this trope so much, especially if you're like supposed to be targeting this towards who? Because if it's for adults, then this is really PEDI. It's a word that rhymes with hedo. So it's really like if it's supposed to be for adults, then that makes the show even worse. Do you know what I mean? Like if that's who it's supposed to be targeting, that makes this whole thing worse. Like people are not upset about the show because it's like steamy. It's because of like the content in it. And again, they have that like, I cannot stress to you how much I hate student-teacher relationships played out, especially with underage, specifically with underage persons. I hate it so much because it's unnecessary. It is disgusting. And as much as we want to pretend that media doesn't get into our heads and doesn't seep into our souls, it does. These things permeate our minds. It happens whether we want to admit it or not. Not saying people are stupid, but these kinds of things bother me a lot because if you are young and you keep seeing these types of relationships, you know, put out into the world as if this shit is like full normal, you know what I mean? Like as if this is okay and it's romantic when it's really assault, then we have problems. Like that's not like, we have to stop portraying it this way. And I can't handle it. You know what I mean? There's too many of those going on in there and it's very, very, it's like, it's icky. It's extremely icky. Like I do not like it. And I'm like, okay. And that's again, why it should have been set as like, you know, college age adults, because then it's like, okay, it's two consenting adults having a relationship now. And, you know, even though it's still icky and there is a power dynamic there, it's not illegal. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not illegal. Of course, they also have the, once again, tried and true, tired ass trope of the black girl from the hood who doesn't, you know, belong there. Like, she doesn't belong there. And it's very annoying. I'm so tired of this. Like, can we move on? It's 2020. Can we move on from this, like, oh, I'm black and I'm coming into a traditionally white world, and I also am stereotypically black, and that I come from the hood. I do, in fact, have a parent who is in prison that I am at some point gonna have to go speak at their hearing, because I wouldn't be the black trope if I wasn't there doing this. And on top of that, like, she's also the rebel rouser and troublemaker who's like trying to change the school, and this really fucking bothers me significantly. Like, that really bothers me a lot. And the reason that it bothers me so much is because that mentality of like black women saving the school, and like the school in this case, but the world, you know what I mean, is like the strong black woman stereotype, and I'd like to see that go. So I don't like that. I don't like it at all. That's a no from me, dog. That is definitely a no from me. I'm not feeling it, and I want it to leave. Like, please stop having the black character be so stereotypical. I feel like if you're trying to do something, you know, different, then I don't know, perhaps, maybe, just maybe, she also comes from a, you know, she's part of the privileged class. Like, why wouldn't you make her just be part of the privileged class, and then, you know, have it based around that? Like, ugh, it's very annoying. Let me now get into the next part of this. Is the pacing is horrific. Okay, I'm not going in a super particular order. I'm just talking about the things as I wrote them down. The pacing for the show is god awful. From beginning to end, it's very confusing. It is hard to follow. It is very confusing. It is difficult to follow. You spend a lot of time just kind of trying to figure out, like, who, what, when, why, and the way that time moves, it makes the relationships between people confusing. So you like sit there a lot of times like confused, like who's dating who and why. And the reason you're so confused is because like you don't know how time is passing on this show. Like, is it tomorrow? Is it the same day? Did they break up? And like it happens at such a rapid pace, like the breakups and the makeups and who's doing who and whatnot, that you're like not even sure, like you haven't even been introduced to these characters well enough to be like rooting for their relationship, and then it's over and you're like, well, I don't know, am I supposed to care that they broke up? Am I supposed to care about this or that? It just doesn't make any sense, and it just moves. Like sometimes it's too slow, and then at the times that it needs to like slow the hell down, it won't. Like you're just sitting there like, so I don't know who wrote that, but the pacing was just at such a point that you had difficulty trying to figure out who was with who and why. You know what I mean? Like, why would this person be with this person? Why did these people break up? I'm confused. When did they even start seeing each other? Was like the next part of it. You're just like, wait, so when did these people even become a couple? And it's like, I don't know, fam. Like, I don't know. And I watched all of the episodes. I paid attention to them, except for like the sexy time stuff. I really did. I'm not kidding. I had to just start bowing out because I was like, this is gross. I can't. Like every time it gets sexy, like it's they're 16. I can't deal. Like I can't watch it. And again, it's like it wouldn't have been bad if it was just like, you know, a little here, but like you're literally watching them take the parts and like you don't see them grab it, but like, you know what I'm talking about? So you're watching that and it's just like fucking awkward. It's awkward. It makes you feel uncomfortable at best. No, uncomfortable at the least, and at best, like it's illegal. So as I was saying before I went to go wet my sponge, the pacing was honestly so bad that there were characters on the show that it took me a while to figure out who the hell they were, because it just like they would kind of be there for a second and then they weren't there. Speaking of which, let me just talk about the acting, okay? It's horrible. So sorry. That was like right in your face. So sorry. It is so bad. The acting is terrible. And I get why, like, I get that what they wanted to do was hire actual like ballet dancers, which Cool, I know my lips are dry. We're not gonna talk about it because I'm gonna moisturize them and do all this shit in a second. So like, I get my skin all ready and then I always forget to put on chapstick, but I don't like chapstick on underneath my lipstick. Just leave me alone. All right, so I got like very confused as to who some of these characters were. Like I'm sitting there like, who is this person? What are they doing here? And like, I had to just really pay attention. Like, and I was paying attention, but it's like you blinked and there was another new character. And I was just like, what are they doing here? And like, why, like, are they a pivotal part of this story? Like at one point a girl is like, has to leave. She's like forced to leave, like her parents make her leave. And I was just like, I was like, who the hell was she? Was she in the show this whole time? Was I just not paying attention? Like that's how bad the pacing was. They just weren't doing a good job of introducing who I guess your main characters were gonna be, like who the main characters of the story were gonna be. And they were like trying to make this like plot, I don't know. So, but anyway, the acting is so terrible that they've hired like all of these dancers, which good on them, because then like you don't have to put in body doubles and whatnot. I guess it's cheaper. But here's the thing. These dancers, these ballet dancers, while fantastic at dancing, are terrible actors. There's the guy, I don't know his name. He is the actor who played Oren, who's like the lead guy that everybody, like, I guess they want him. I look so red and like summery right now and I'm living for it. I'm sorry if you don't like it, but I like it. All right. Anyway, the guy who plays Oren, when I tell you that every time he has to look surprised or incredulous, he looks like a damn fish that somebody like plucked out of the fish tank and threw on the ground and it's like gasping for air. Cause they'll be like, oh my God, so-and-so had to leave the school. And he'd be like, ooh, like every time. I swear to you, it is an accurate representation. He's just like, like the whole thing. And it's just like, I was just like, so y'all saw him make that face and y'all were just like, perfect job, guy. Like it was intense. I sat there like very sad, very sad, just looking at him like, so this is what we're gonna do. And they're like, and I'm like, okay, it's your show, y'all. So the acting is absolutely terrible. And that makes everything even like that much worse because the acting is so bad. And you're just like confused a lot by it. You're like, you spend a lot of time just trying to figure out like what in the hell is happening. You know what I mean? You're just like, I'm so confused by what's happening and the acting is terrible. Like every scene, like they're either overacting or underacting it. And I don't know how Lauren Holly got sucked into this thing, but like, you know what, girl, get your paycheck, Lauren. Get your paycheck, Lauren. I wanted her to like, you know what, we want people to get paid. So, you know, get that check, girl. And you know what? She did. She got that check. So Lauren Holly is like the big namer in this show. And I don't know who virtually everybody else is. Then we're supposed to think there's this character named Ramon. He's like the bad boy of ballet. I don't know why they have to keep having those, but like, okay. It's like they all watch Center Stage and then they were just like, this is how you make a show or movie about ballet. You have a bad boy of ballet. So Ramon, you're like, here's the thing. You're supposed to be able to find him attractive, okay? You're supposed to be like, he's hot, like, yes, daddy, like, what's up? However, once again, here comes the problem with them not being adults. He seemingly has affairs with his students, which, it's so gross. It's so gross. So you can't, like, I can't find him attractive because, like, that is not cute. Like, that's not hot. It's not hot to me. Like, I'm not like, oh, you do this with, okay. Like, that doesn't, I'm not turned on. You know what I mean? I'm not, that's not my, no, I'm sorry. I'm like, I can't even have words for it. But you can't. Like, here's the thing. I am going to, this is one spoiler that I'm just going to say because in order for you to feel how like upsetting this was, I'm going to have to say this. There is a point where Ramon is getting it on with the headmistress of the ballet school or whatever. And he's like, you know, he's a young bad boy of ballet, right? Not like young, like he's an adult, but like, anyway, here's where it goes. They're, and she says, I taught you well. So now you're just like, okay, I'm just watching the show with rampant, and it's nobody's doing anything about, like, this is just, I can't, no ma'am, no sir, no they, no way. I cannot deal with this. It was too much. I sat there just being like, this is disgusting. But I watched all of it, obviously. But the way that I was just like completely grossed out was just too high. There's also like a murder mystery in this show. I just do not. Like, the cheek pop just does not give me like any color. I'm so disappointed. Like, I get like a very, very small bit of glow, but it's not enough. It's not enough. Anywho's it's, there's like a murder mystery involved. That's not like giving anything away. That's just telling you, like, there's a murder mystery. It's a terrible murder mystery, but it is a murder mystery nonetheless. It exists in the realm of the movie. It's very confusing. I don't know why they had it there. They literally just could have just been like, this person's in a coma and they were once our best ballet dancer, and like make a murder mystery, or like not even have the murder mystery. The acting's already bad. Like honestly, why add to it by like adding even more to a plot? Like, these people cannot act, and here you are just like trying to like throw a murder mystery in. Okay, Janice. So that's part of like what little plot there is, because that's the other thing. There's no plot in this show. There's just like episode after episode, and there's not really like a good substantial plot to like take the show anywhere. So you're just kind of stuck sitting there like confused as hell as to what's going on and why it's going on. Most of the time you're just like, what? It's very confusing. You spend a large chunk of the time just trying to figure out why in the hell anyone who has a brain could like make this show, first of all, and say it's good, and they made it and they're like, ship it. Like, that's what it feels like happened here. They like legitimately made this show and was like, oh, people are gonna be eating this up. But it didn't add anything new to the conversation. So there's like that portion of it, like where it's like nothing new happened. So I feel like a lot of us were just kind of stuck sitting there like, okay, so this is just like every other show that does this. And it's like, yeah. And we're like, okay, just curious, like nothing. So nothing new? They're like, nothing, absolutely nothing. You're like, not even like this? They're like, no, we're not gonna add that either. And you're like, oh, okay, all right. So just checking. I just want to make sure we were going with completely unoriginal. So the next thing that I wanted to talk about is, this is just like a small annoyance, but like the amount of times they had these ballerinas in open-toed shoes. Get out. All right, so if anybody knows anybody who does ballet and did ballet actively, listen. The few people that I knew that did ballet shunned open-toed shoes because ballet dancers have, you know, gnarly ass feet, and for good reason. Like, I'm not making fun of their feet. Don't get it twisted. I'm not like, oh, they have the feet of people who've been working on their feet. Broken toes, gnarled, kind of crooked toes, toenails missing. Like, it's part of the deal. So like they would just constantly have these girls running around, and yes, there are males as well, we'll get there, but they would constantly have these girls running around in open-toed shoes, and I was just like, no ma'am, no sir, no they, no way. Like, that is not true. Like, they're just not doing it. And it was just like this plot point that would irritate me, especially because there would be times where they would show their feet and their feet would be like gnarly, and then there would be like other times and their feet were perfectly fine. And I was like, so like, you're telling me, like, again, with the pacing and all, with how they shot things, I'm just like, so y'all didn't think to like make continuity there? Like, either they have perfectly acceptable feet or they don't. And I'm not being like shitty about anybody's feet. And I know that they're dancers. A lot of dancers don't have, especially in ballet, don't have the best feet. You're like, those, have you ever tried to put your foot in a pair of toe shoes? Like, it's horrible. I tried it one time. I don't know what I was thinking. Listen, I have problems, and I don't want to discuss them right now. So anyway, but those shoes are very dangerous, okay? They are extremely dangerous. Those shoes are dangerous. But it's just like that kind of irritated me that they kept trying to show that these girls were wandering around with open-toed shoes and like all that. Also, bring it back to the sexy times. Okay, so here's another reason that this should have been set in college. Because I did talk about like there was a lot of going on, like, let's get it on. Okay, anyways, we're not gonna do that today. We're not gonna do that ever. But the point is, they seem to be living in some kind of dorm, like on campus dorm, because I guess it's like a private school. And for some reason, they were always just going into each other's rooms and like boinking. Like, just, and like there was no authority. Like no one ever showed up to be like, you can't be doing that. Like at no point in time was there anyone who was like, hi, what are you doing in here? Like you can't be just like in here getting your freak on. Like it was just like a normal occurrence at this place. And I just thought that was weird. I was like, again, you should have set this in like a more college atmosphere, because had they done that, had they set it into a college atmosphere, then they would not be having these issues of like someone coming in and getting upset with them and like all the, like it seemed very awkward and weird to me that you would have, like, what kind of parents at this point, my real question really starts to become, what kind of parents are sending their kid to this like very expensive, exclusive ballet school, right? You send your kids there for them to just be like willy-nilly banging everybody, potentially losing their, like, not able to have their dream, you know what I mean? Like, hoops, preggers, like, whose parents are sending them to this school? Like, this school is filled with teachers, like educators hooking up with the students. So you have that's a problem, definitely. Then you also have like students hooking up with students, which obviously students would hook up with students. That's like a given. But like, they're just doing it in their rooms. Like nobody's stopping them. There's like no chaperones, no one watching over them. There's just like boys going into the girls' rooms, girls going into the boys' rooms, and it's like all times of the day. And also it doesn't look like they're learning anything else but ballet. Like that's the other thing. I'm just like, y'all really just like, how would you be going to the school? You haven't graduated yet. And I know this sounds petty, but like I'm a petty bitch. How would they be going to a school they haven't graduated yet? They seem to only be doing ballet all day, every day, just ballet, ballet, just like all day, every day. It just seemed weird to me. It seemed like some weird ass shit. And I was just very like, the fuck? I mean, I'm serious. I was literally sitting there like, I am very confused by this situation here. So, you know, but me being me, I'm trying to see, like, maybe find something good in the show, something. But then comes this. So this is a little bit of a spoiler, but like not really, because you're going to run into this in the first episode. But I'm just going to talk about that there's, by erasure, quite a bit of it in this show. So you have what you think is going to be like a secret gay male relationship happening, which it is. But you think like, oh, he must be like, you know, like they normally do, which is like he's actually gay but has a girlfriend, has a beard, like all of that kind of stuff. But no, he's actually bisexual. He is sexually attracted to both men and women. And here's the kicker. They just really have this opportunity to explore it, and then they just don't. They're like, nope, we're not gonna do that, not today. And I'm like, why not? And they're like, oh, we just don't have time. And I'm like, how could you not have time? It's right here. This is all you have time for. You like, it's like fucking 12 episodes. Each episode is an hour long, but each episode feels like it is like 3 episodes. I don't know how to explain it. Again, the pacing. Each episode starts to feel like it's 3 episodes, so you get confused as to what's happening and when. I can't make up the rules. And also, I really, really hated how they portrayed, once again, the gay characters on the show. Because this has already been done. And this is a thing for me too. Like, this was already done on Queer as Folk. So I didn't feel like there was a need for it to be done again in another show where like they're both kind of they just seem to hook up a lot, you know what I mean? They like hook up a lot rather than like have relationships. So I didn't like that, but I also didn't like how the main young man, whose name I cannot remember because I literally don't care. His name might be Shane, because it's bad. The show is bad and they're bad for having done what they've done with this. But his name is Shane. And when I tell you it's annoying AF to have yet again another like relationship that, you know, the straight guy does not want, but like he does want it. Like he does want to hook up with Shane. I think that's his name. But like also he doesn't want to. And then the way that Shane is made to seem very predatory towards him, I just don't like that. I feel like we've moved past that storyline, because like I don't like it in any capacity, okay? I don't like it when you have a straight couple and, you know, the guy telling her, like, you know, you want to be with me, like, da-da-da, and she's like, no, I can't do this right now. And then he, like, kind of grabs her, and then, you know, they end up, you know, getting it on, because I feel like that sends a bad message about consent, which is, like, just keep trying until they say yes, and I don't like that. So... I know I didn't mean for this to get kind of get a little bit political, but it is. So I didn't like that at all. Like that whole the gays are predatory move again. Like again, we're doing that again in 2020. Girl, please. Now we're gonna, you know, pause for a moment of silence for me to try to draw on some wings. And I think that I hate this eyeliner, but we're gonna try it anyway. Remember when I was talking about Ramin, the bad guy, the bad boy of ballet? Well, the reason that I talked about him and also like his character development is very much that I felt once again we're doing this like bullshit where we're perpetuating a cycle of victimhood. So when you hear the teacher, the lady, say that, what she says to him, I don't feel good repeating it. When she's like, I taught you well. When she says that, there's legitimately, like, you just begin to realize, like, okay, well, like, now he's just perpetuating the same cycle, which I'm just like, why wouldn't he choose not to do that? Like, I just feel like they had a good show. And listen, I get that it's based off of a YA novel. I get it, you know? I'm not an asshole. I get that. But I do feel like they use these like excuses of like, well, we based it off of that. And I'm just like, well, you don't have to keep everything the same. And obviously I haven't read it because I'm not who it's for. You know what I mean? Like, not that that's ever mattered, but I'm just saying. But like, I feel like you now see, like you end up seeing Roman in a different light, and you're like, oh my gosh, like he's like a victim of this shit as well. And they're just making it very, very dark. And I don't know, I just felt like a lot of the problems with the show, aside from the terrible acting, really could have been solved by like literally moving them to being 18 years old, like being the age of consent. By moving these people to the age of consent, they could have avoided a lot of ick and like made the show much more interesting. And like then, like for instance, like the sex scenes, steamy, you know, then they'd be steamy, because right now, like I said before, if it's supposed to be for 13 to 16-year-olds, I don't know a lot of parents who are like really willing to let their kid watch that. Like, I'm so sorry. I just don't. I don't know a lot of parents who are just like, oh no, it's fine if my child watches this like horrifically oversex show. Like, ooh. And also again, sexualizing teenagers like that, not cool. Like, that is one area where I'm never gonna be like, it's just a show. It's just like, I'm never gonna really be able to do that, because listen, they're teenagers, and you're making them teenagers, and like even if they're 27 playing teenagers, like this has gone beyond. Like it just, the show itself has gone beyond. The sex scenes were far more adult in nature than they should have been for these kids to be kids. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, these were far too adult and graphic in nature for it to just be like a good show. And then when you just kind of come to the conclusion that, like, you know, the guy who plays Roman, who is supposed to be like sexy and Latino, but you can't find him sexy and Latino because of the whole, you know, pedo thing. You know, because of that whole thing, it's just like, there's literally no one likable on the show. That's the final thing that I'm gonna hit. There's no one likable on the show. No one. I haven't watched a show before where, like, it's been a very long time since I've watched a show where literally every character, I was like, I don't like them. Like, I didn't like anybody. I didn't like the black girl. I didn't like any of the white girls. I didn't like the weird French accented dude. Like, he had no top lip. I was really upset by that. And you would have to watch it to see what I'm saying. And I know that you're like, Audra, that is rude. He cannot help that he was born that way. I know, but they could have helped how they put his makeup on so it didn't look so weird. That's what I'm saying. They need to fire makeup because that man has like an actual, like if you go look at his actual pictures, like where he's not in this show, you know, they've done, like they didn't make him look like that. And I don't know whose idea it was to do that with his makeup, but they need to get fired. They need to get fired from the show. But yeah, I mean, this is a show where if they had wanted it to be like this steamy and graphic, like again, no prude. I am not a prude and I definitely enjoy my fair share of the adult videos and for free, of course. But I definitely, you know, partake in my fair share. I don't mind talking about it. But I think if it was supposed to be for 13 to 16-year-olds, it failed there. If it was supposed to be for like mid-20s, it failed there because nobody talks like that. Nobody talks like that. Like the way that these people were talking, it was ridiculous. The dialogue, awful, awful, start to finish. What did we learn today about Tiny Pretty Things? It is a terrible show, and honestly, the reason that it doesn't work, besides the terrible acting, the bad pacing, the good thing about it was the dancing and the cinematography was fairly good, with the exception of one thing, which was like the weird fuzzy filter that they had on everything, and I was like, why? Like, it looked like they put the blur background filter on the lens when they were filming the show. It was very confusing. I was like, who did this? Like, you will see that there are pieces on the outer edge that are just fuzzy, and like the character will be talking and like their face is kind of blurred out. Weird. But the dancing was really, really great, obviously, because these people are really, they're actually good dancers. It looked very, very pretty. The cinematography was actually, you know, decent. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't fantastic. It was kind of like, it was good, and the dancing looked beautiful, and it was shot well for the most part, but some of it wasn't shot so well. And then I will just say that I would not want to watch the show ever again. I'm sure there's going to be a season 2, and I don't know why. But if y'all want me to watch it, I will. Drop me your recommendations for things that you think that I should see on Netflix, and maybe we'll make this a series. Who knows? But I definitely did want to talk about that show because it was just bad. Set it in college. If you want to have that much steam room scenes with naked man ass, make them all 18 so that I can actually not feel like the FBI is coming for me. All right, that is it, y'all. Thank you so much for watching this video. Again, drop your recs below if you think that there's something that I should watch and ruin my life with and do a video on. If you all enjoyed this, please give this a thumbs up. And as usual, huge shout out to my patrons and spooky bays, yeah. All right, you know the deal. It costs $0 to be kind, and it's so good for your soul, because if you don't, it's me. I'm coming for your soul. All right, y'all, XOXO, Gothic girl. Yes. Why do I have this weird hair that just like refuses to behave? Like, come on now. But before I talk about show pretty little things, be a part of the other hairs. There we go. Now I look normal-ish, right? No. Pretty young things. Just like be friends with the other hairs. Like you're gonna get fixed tomorrow. Stop it. Where do these burps even come from? Gross. I don't remember. I'm gonna have to. Okay, go away. Tiny pretty things. I got it. What sounded like. It's like, was it hyenas? No, it wasn't hyenas.